Now is the time. A time you'll look back on. A time you adopt as inspiration. You will recollect this time. This moment, right now. Motivate yourself towards success. Overcome. Take over. The time is now.
Hello, everybody. We are back. We're back. Great to see everybody.
Yeah, good to see you too, mate. I don't know who he is on the top right.
Who's that guy?
I know. Yeah, I recognise you from the Metro Sander.
Yeah, vaguely remember it. Yeah, I'm sure I passed it. I'm sure you. I'm sure your kid Uzzin says, "You're that lad from Loaded, aren't you?"
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I tried to get an autograph, but I tried to get you an autograph shirt, but you're having none of it. Nah. You're like, no, way too famous walking around with your lass and security. But yeah,
you're right.
No, good to be back. Obviously, I haven't seen his. I've seen Ritchie. Obviously, I suppose I better give a shout out because I have been missing for so long. So, obviously, most people know I was away because my mum passed and we had the funeral. Massive thanks to everybody who messaged me on the day beforehand, sent me texts, rang me. Everything else is massively appreciated, not just by me, but by my family, the wife and everybody else. It was heartfelt thanks to everybody because some of the messages were lovely and people went out their way to make sure I was okay in a tough time. Ritchie and the Loaded boys obviously looked after me as well. But in particular, Ritchie turned up on the day of my mum's funeral, came to see me with a few pints and then sat pretty much through the evening cursing at the TV, watching Newcastle v Liverpool. But I'm back. Life does go on, as they say. So no better place to come back and see everybody, get back with the Loaded boys and get back to what we do best, which is hopefully producing some good content. So delighted to be back and massive thanks to everybody. So thanks very much.
Great to have you back, Martin.
We
did miss you. We had a busy August with all the transfer stories. I'm sure people were sick to death of looking at us at the end of it, but we took a little break along the way. Of course, big news in the UK, and we pay our respects to the Queen. And I know everybody is in mourning at the moment, and a lot of action across the water in the UK at the moment, and with the funeral being on Monday. But the show goes on for us as well, and we were back with football as well. So that's great that the Bournemouth match goes ahead on Saturday. We thought that match might be postponed as well, but we're back to football. Keep us occupied, keep our head in the game. Right, I have we have two routes we can take tonight, and we can talk about the kind of topical stuff that has happened in the last day or two. But I think I'm going to direct you towards what I advertised in Squad Game 2, Box to Box. So, and the lads that are kind of looking at me, so, what is
I have no idea.
You've told us now, Baz. You've kept it under wraps all day.
Yeah. I have no clue what's going on. Even if we were to talk about the topical stuff, I still don't know what's going on.
And I'm sure people are going, "What the?"
Yeah. No, I'm not going to do it. No, it did beep. No, it did beep. Yeah. No,
did it? I didn't hear it. Ah, damn it.
Yeah, no, it did
anyway,
grand.
Okay. Sorry, we've been away too long. So let's get back to it. So let's talk you through what it is first. So Box to Box, it's easy. So we're gonna do is, and I'll show on my screen as well. We're gonna put up 4 boxes. And a list, and I got this idea from a tweet from Ginger Pirlo on Twitter. I saw that he had an interesting tweet, and I said we could make a show out of that and make it interesting. So let's hope you find it interesting. But we're going to want you to play along as well. The idea is we have down along the side. Yes, you can see my cursor. We have a list of Newcastle players, including in green there, the 25-man squad that was announced today. Topical. So that's just to identify that. And we have 4 different boxes. We have Champions League, top half of the Premier League, bottom half of the Premier League, and Championship or lower leagues. And you see I'll have a hashtag there as well. So you can play along at home. So let's say we come to Kieran Trippier, who would be first we could talk about, and you think Kieran Trippier should be in the we should class him as a bottom half of the Premier League club. Let's put it that way. You can put in the chat, you can put Trips bottom, then we'll know that that's where it'll save you typing. So if you want an easy way to play along. So we will get the show underway. So the first up, and the idea, let's kind of set the pace here as well. Let's take it as the players' standard now, not so much in the future, but as they are now. Would you classify them as a Champions League player, a top half Premier League player, a bottom half Premier League player, or a Championship lower league player? So everyone got me so far?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, hope people at home are getting what we're talking about as well. So let's go first with Kieran Trippier. So Martin, where are you putting Kieran Trippier? Which box are you putting him into?
It's got to be Champions League, that surely.
Champions League.
Absolutely, Champions League
for Trips.
Yeah.
Richie.
You really are asking a stupid question here.
I know, I am. But yeah, I agree.
To be fair, I've been missing for a while, but I'm not stupid.
Oh, I tell you what, David Cook's got a bit here, mate. Look.
No, he's right.
And then Lisa, top.
Oh,
controversial, Lisa.
Oh, that is controversial. But everyone is entitled to their opinion. So
I think we've got someone in chat that you might know as well, Daz.
Is that the ginger bear though?
I don't know. I might be just guessing by the comment, mate.
It might be. Well, thanks for the idea anyway, Chris. If it came from you. So yeah, we really need Chris and Pete for getting the Shire twisty finger all around the house. 3 for 3 on Trippier. But let us move on. Of course, if we had Chris with us tonight, we'd just have one box and he'd stick everyone in the Champions League, and we'd have to put Andy Carlin and Hatman Arfa, and and we'd probably put Murphy in top half Premier League. But that's about it. Let's move on.
We'd also need a 4-hour show.
Let us go to Paul Dummett is next. So, Richie, I'm going to go you first for Paul Dummett. Where are you putting him?
Oh, it's one of those. It's a difficult one because obviously we know he's been in the club for 10 years now in the first team, and I think with him just being the age he is now, I'm reluctant to put him in Championship.
Your
Championship,
as in you.
I put Dummett in the Championship.
You want to put? You put him in the
I think that's his standard at the minute. I just think that's that's his level now. Obviously, we're basing it on where the players are now. Obviously, if we're going to be going forward and stuff. And for me, he's Championship level now. He's had too many injuries. He's lost any pace he had and stuff. That still reads the game well. Could do well at places like Middlesbrough or Norwich and all that sort of stuff. But he's not Premier League level for me anymore.
Oh, that's fair enough, Richie. Martin, Dummett.
Yeah, I see where Richie's coming from, but I think he could do a job for lower league Premier club. So a Bournemouth or one of those, a Norwich or a Burnley or somebody that is lower half Premier League. So and he's been a really good servant, so I'll give him a little bit of credit. I get what Richie's saying with the whole style and play and everything else, but I'm gonna put him into bottom half Premier League for me.
And that is the wrong answer, Martin, because I agree with Richie. And it's 3 against 1, 2 against 1, and I see that's Lisa fine. And we're going to be ruthless here. Dummett is going in the championship.
Well, to be fair, if I'm going off all the comments here, Daz, the majority of them are saying Championship or lower. So
what would they know? Come on. Carry
on. Right. Let's move on. Here's another easy one. Sven Botman. I'll go first there.
Because it's easy.
For me. Well, no, it's just in turn. It's probably my turn. We go.
As Yano says, is it because we need less subtitles for that one? Is that why, Dad?
Maybe. Ritchie, Botman.
Same as Trippier, mate.
Same as Trippier. Martin.
Yeah, no, Champions League, mate. Has to be.
Full house. Stop. Will we get one of these, please? No. There he is. Sven Botman is in our Champions League box. Next up, Fabian Schär. Martin, we'll go
Top
to you
half
first.
Premier League. Top half Premier League. I don't think he's Champions League, but I think definitely top half Premier League.
Ritchie.
Where he stands at this moment in time, I've got to agree with Martin. I think he's top half Premier League. You know, he's an international player, and he's come on even leaps and bounds even more into Eddie Howe. So I'm not saying he's not someone who could possibly become a Champions League level player because he's got the experience of, as I said, international stuff like that. You know, but at this moment in time, he's top half Premier for me.
And for me also, it's where I was teaching him as well. Is top half.
I think he's come on, but I don't think he's got another league to go to. I don't think he has another level. That's just me.
Yeah, you know, and he has come on leaps and bounds from the Bruce.
Absolutely.
Remember, Ritchie will remind me. I wanted him out at one stage because he just used to frustrate me. But he's really impressed in the last while. But I wouldn't stick him in a Champions League squad. Europa League maybe. So that's round. Yeah, there was another. We have to go give this for Schär. We definitely have to do that for Schär. Right. Next one, then. I go to Martin for this one. I have to go to Martin for this one. It'd be rude not to. Jamal
Championship.
Martin.
Don't even need to.
Championship. Straight away. No, you sure you want to have a think about
hesitation. No. Listen, I fully appreciate the service he's given. Days of the Championship and everything else to get us back into league and everything else. Blah 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 blah. Gone. Not my captain.
Gone. I'm going to go next this time, and then I'll go to Ritchie. I'll leave the casting vote to Ritchie. I'm putting him in a bottom half of a Premier League. I think he started to come on.
Don't even say it. Don't say he's starting to come around. Don't insult the viewer's intelligence, Daz. Come on.
I'm going to
you
look at the bottom half of the Premier League. It means there's a logic in this. It means that he's not going to be playing for us, and it means that we have to play against him. There you go. There's the logic.
No, sorry, that logic doesn't work. Championship, don't want to see him again. Disappear. Go play basketball. Get some more tattoos. Do whatever you want to do. Bye bye.
What are you saying, Ritchie?
I like Adam's comment actually. Bottom half, but gets relegated. So I don't know whether that actually means he's actually classed as he thinks of a championship player or a genuine bottom half Premier League. But I think we've just found another one because Yano has also mentioned that we need a fifth box, Stars.
Yeah, I'm not making any more boxes.
In that one, I think this is where Martin would put Lascelles, and it's called the bin. But no, in all seriousness, I think for Lascelles, I'm going to agree with Martin. I believe he's a championship level player all day long. He excelled when he was down there for that season. When we got relegated, and I think he's flattered to deceive sometimes in the Premier League. Yes, he has come on under Eddie Howe, but at the same time, your club captain can't get a game. You know what I mean? So it's championship all day long for me.
Ooh, no, okay, fair enough. Jamal Lascelles, just remember, I kept you in the Premier League. So just to note, as we're 5 players in, and we've already and you see that 2 of our 25-man squad were already saying our championship level. So that's interesting, and we'll see the totals at the end of it. Let's go to the next man, and it's J7 Joelinton. Ritchie, we'll go to you first.
Do you know what I think this is like this one here? I think is probably the hardest of the lot for the whole squad, in my opinion, because you're probably looking at before Eddie Howe came in, you'd probably turn around and said, as Yano said, he'd probably be in the fifth section of the bin. But obviously, the transformation that he's had is just absolutely phenomenal. It's obviously everyone seems to be looking at the replacement who's going to be played alongside Joelinton and Bruno at the minute. Whenever we're looking for replacements for that midfield over the transfer window, but I think you're going to be not too far after that. Is who's then going to be played alongside Bruno, that other as well, because Joelinton's the natural replacement after that. So for me, he's come on absolute leaps and bounds. But I think he'd have to join Fabian Schär in top half Premier League for the minute. Not saying as I said before with with Schär, same thing. He could make it to the Champions League. Obviously, he's still young, still developing under Eddie Howe in a role that's unfamiliar to him. Yeah, I think for him, what might make him a Champions League level player is if he can break into the Brazil squad, which I know Daz is dreading.
I'm not dreading it. He's more than welcome in to join us after the World Cup.
We're definitely not dreading it if that happens.
There's still more clauses. Remember that.
You can't keep writing them in every time we do a show or you decide it's getting closer.
You made the bet for me originally, so I can.
Bet was when Joelinton gets in the Brazilian call-up, Daz gets a tattoo of Joe on his arse.
Martin, you've got photographic. You've got video evidence of it as well.
I have got video evidence of it. Yes.
Yeah. You quoted when you wanted to as well. That video evidence. Let me see. So, Martin, let's go to you next, and on your choice for Joelinton.
Where's Ritchie say he's putting him?
He's Ritchie's putting him in the top.
Yeah, I would agree. Top half Premier League. I think, like Ritchie, I think there's always been initially we thought there wasn't a player there, but and I think every single Newcastle fan bar one has probably kind of said when we first got him, Jesus Christ, 40 million flop. But I think he's packed a bit of muscle on, and he's kind of become the black and white version of Yaya Toure. So I think he's getting better and better every game. I think actually while I was away, there was a couple of clips on him on YouTube that I was watching, and he's just got better and better and better. And I think he's probably at a stage now where he's probably one of the first names on the team sheet for Eddie Howe, I would think. He's doing that good a job in that position. I think it's a credit to the coach and it's a credit to Eddie Howe, but I think it's an even bigger credit to Joelinton himself, because he could have gone nowhere with it, but he hasn't. He's changed, he's adapted, and he's gone on. And I think the performances he put in last season and then into this season that have continued, I think he well deserves to be in that top half of the Premier League. And I hope, another couple of seasons we're talking about him being in a Champions League spot. But top half Prem for me, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I agree with both you lads. It's be the top half of the Premier League for me. But I think
just before you finish what you're saying, just before you move on to the next person, there's a good topic I want to discuss off the being that Joelinton for Life's brought up. But just finish what you're saying first, mate.
So no hassle. So I think he's someone that could graduate into the Premier League box, I'd say, because he's kind of still only learning the midfield role. So the more and more he plays in that position, the better he seems to be getting. So I think I agree with you. We're putting him in the top, but he's someone that has the potential to make a breakthrough in here for us in the future, perhaps. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, Richie. Go for your.
Yeah. Well, it's a good point. He's typed it up after I was making my comment. So, but obviously you've backed me up, and we've all agreed. University the top half Premier League. But Joelinton for Life said, Richie, where would you put Declan Rice if you think that of Joelinton? Now, I know obviously that's an interesting talk point, because obviously a lot of people think that he's probably one of the best holding midfielders in the Premier League and stuff like that. But for me, Declan Rice isn't Champions League level either. And at this moment in time, West Ham, he's probably in the same group for me as top half Premier League for, he could go to another level, but I think he needs to be the bigger club to show that he's capable of doing that sort of thing. Whereas with Joelinton, he's starting to show that a better level than what Declan Rice has got. and he's only had a limited time now. Imagine what he's going to be like, and as you've already mentioned, in 18 months, 2 years down the line, he could be in that top category of Champions League players as well, like Kieran Trippier and Sven Botman. But what do you think, Martin?
I think Declan Rice is massively overrated. That's my view on him. I think this season for West Ham is going to be interesting, in particular for Declan Rice, with some of the signings that they've made. Bearing in mind they made 9 during the summer window. I think Declan Rice is gonna get found out. I think he has all the mainstays to be a real top player, but I think the last few seasons, as West Ham have built, even though he's sat in midfield, actually, depending on where he plays, I actually think Bowen is a better player, who can play in different zones. But I think Declan Rice could get found out this season, and my only worry would be with him is like very much like a Jack Grealish, which is has been West Ham for a period of time. Big fish in a small pond. West Ham now grown. If Declan Rice was to go to a bigger club, I think he would just end up being another Jack Grealish.
That's a good point in the comparison with Jack Grealish. For me, I think I'd stick him in the top as well, the top half of the Premier League. He does need a move though, just to challenge himself. And he's probably maybe ahead of Joelinton of getting into the Champions League box. But yeah, interesting. It's a good question as well.
The Declan Rice thing. Sorry, Daz. The Declan Rice thing is similar to Mark Noble. You're Mark Noble, West Ham fans. Like my uncle's a West Ham fan. My uncle would tell you, Mark Noble, best servant West Ham's ever had after the likes of Bobby Moore and players like that. But he never went anywhere. You know, he got I think possibly one call up for England or whatever it was. But he never ever went anywhere else. He never went to another club to push himself. And I think, yes, there's a level of saying, listen, I've been really loyal, I've been a great servant. But surely at some point, Declan Rice and Mark Noble, surely there was something within their DNA in their career where Mark Noble looked at West Ham and went, bugger this, I need to go somewhere else to a bigger pitch. And I just think Declan Rice could fall into that. And listen, don't get me wrong, West Ham's a great club. You know, middle of London, you've got all the trappings around him, get all of that. But I just think Declan Rice for me is heading exactly the same as Jack Grealish.
And just Mark, I know we're getting way off track, but Mark Noble had a great career at West Ham, and he's a club legend now, you know.
Absolutely, and I'm not saying that's wrong, Daz. All I'm saying is, listen, it's the easiest way to describe it. It's like a job. Every job needs people that sit in their grooves and do the day-to-day, the steady eddies, and they're happy and content doing 20 years of service, and it is what it is. Then you've got other people that decide, actually, I want a bit more than that, and they'll either move or they'll get promoted or they'll do whatever. But I just think this season, I'm actually going to be quite interested in watching West Ham this season. Obviously, with the Paqueta thing and seeing how that works out. I think they've made some really good signings, but I just think you could see Declan Rice fade a little bit with all of those players coming in.
I think another interesting point on this, right, and it just falls into what you've said, Martin, about Grealish being like the big fish in a small pond at Villa, but obviously he's just, you know, like a tiddler in the sea when he comes to like playing for Man City. And I think it's a very similar situation to what Calvin Phillips is in now, because obviously he's just made the move from Leeds where he really stood out, and he hasn't even made a start yet for Man City. And then bear in mind, this is for a coach who likes to rotate his team. You never know his starting lineup on a week-to-week basis, but he's literally picked Rodri every week so far. So when he's had that, you know, that's Champions League, that's Premier League as well. So you're right, it's an interesting one on that one, and obviously the Calvin Phillips ties into that as well. So it's, you know, both of those were competing for the England holding role in the Euros recently as well, and they'll be both going for head-to-head for the, you know, the World Cup squad as well. And at the minute, it looks like Calvin Phillips is probably going to miss out because he's going to be down to lack of football.
Yeah, no, that's a very good point, Richie. And yeah, I'd even forgotten Calvin Phillips went to City after. Yeah, hadn't seen him for ages. Right, that was an interesting diversion. I like the way people are putting using the hashtag as well for the players. That's catching on. That's good. Game could really catch on.
This is just another Joelinton one, Daz. Before you go, Janos come up with a good point here. Fred, Winks, McTominay have all played Champions League, and none of them are half the player that J7 is. That's a really good, interesting point.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, agree with that. Let's move on because none of those players are on our list. Let's go to Jonjo Shelvey. So it's probably my turn to go first there. I'm going to put Jonjo Shelvey in the bottom half of the Premier League. He can still do a job. We know he's unreal in the Championship with the quarterback role. We saw it ourselves. And he under Eddie Howe, he's been playing. He played really good stuff in the last year, and I think he would have hit the ground running if he didn't get that freak injury. So I'm putting Jonjo Shelvey in the bottom half of the Premier League. Martin.
Championship. I think. Listen, look, he's a hard one. When he's on his game, he can be class. It's the consistency. Also, he's way too inconsistent in longer spells than he is consistent. And I think one Hollywood pass over a couple of games isn't enough to get bottom half. And I think where he is currently and kind of play time and everything else, I just think he's not a Prem player anymore.
Controversial.
I think the game's evolved, Daz. I think the game has evolved, and that's why you've seen certain players struggle. I think if he went to a Championship club, I think he'd rule the midfield and he'd be pinging balls left, right, and centre because he'd get more time. I don't think he gets the game space and the areas of play that he needs to be the player that he can be, because the Premier League game has changed, dynamically changed.
I think still, I think if he was to leave tomorrow, I know the transfer just closed and blah blah blah, but I think he could, and he's injured, he could do a job for a bottom half of the Premier League club. But that's Ritchie. It's you have the casting vote here.
Well, I'll tell you what, right? I'll put it. This is like an easy way of putting it, right? Everyone always looks at about Dwight Gale, right? He was a Championship player all day long, but he could never cut it in the Premier League. So he was a Championship level player. However, Shelvey was fantastic in the Championship, but he's also been able to cut it in the Premier League, and he's delivered in certain games, and which is something you never ever really saw from Dwight Gale. And as we mentioned before, at the moment we've got two of the three midfielders picking themselves, in Bruno and Joelinton, and the other one's always between Shelvey, Willock, Longstaff, and out of those three, Shelvey normally gets the pick, really, doesn't he? So. But for me, we've been talking about having a fluid transfer cycle going forward every window from now, and if you look, Shelvey's going to be one of the next ones out. Yes, he said he wants to fight for his place, which he's going to, and that's good to see. He wants to be part of the project going forward. But you've also got to look at, has he got the ability to be part of that going forward? And for me, he's also that age where he's in late 20s, early 30s now as well. So for me, bottom half Premier League.
Bottom half Premier League. Yep. Okay. Great. We've agreed on that. So 2 against 1 there on that one. Cool. We shall move on. Any comments? Yep. From Mike, I see Mike.
Janos put down there top for Shelvey.
Top
on that one as well. There's a few people jumping the gun and going with players ahead of where we are. So
that's cheating.
I am trying to filter them in the right order and put them in the right order.
You kick them out. Kick them out, Ritchie. That's cheating. Right, we'll move on. I know people had commented on this man already, Callum Wilson. Martin, I'm going to go to you first. Callum Wilson, where are you sticking him?
Top half Premier.
Richard?
Same. He's got the potential to be a Champions League player, but he's too injury prone. But so for me, top half Premier League.
And it's the same for me as well, top half Premier League. But it is interesting that if you remember back when we picked him up for 20 million, that no one else went for him. As in Spurs did look at him. I think at the time there was talk of Spurs, and Villa didn't get him, and they paid more money. I think it was 32 or something for Ollie Watkins at the time. But I agree. Top half Premier League. I see. I have the comments up now as well. I see what Yano is saying. He's putting them in lower. Wow, lower as in the championship for Callum Wilson.
I don't know. I don't know if he's meaning bottom half, but he's just put down his class as lower. I don't know, but we'll have to. I'll be surprised if it's championship lowly because we've seen so far in the games he's been fit. He's scored some good goals so far. You know, get the Man City one, the movement for that one, and the same for the one against Forest as well. He cuts it, he scores goals in the Premier League for me. So I can't see him beat. I'm hoping it's a typo he's put in there. And it's completely wrong. I
think the thing with Wilson is, I would say this: he's probably one, if not one of the most instinctive goal scorers that we've had probably since the likes of Andy Cole and Demba Ba. Like instinctiveness of just being able to create a finish out of nothing.
A proper goal scorer, instinctive, striker.
Not even. I wouldn't even say that, Ritchie. I would just say he has that knack of just knowing where to be and how to score. Like if you look at the goal, I think against City, you know, the movement from right foot, left foot to take the finish was world class to go past that defense and do that. But some of the goals he scored is just, it reminds me sometimes of the Andy Cole piece. Like Andy Cole used to be sometimes falling backwards onto his arse and he'd clip the ball in. Like I remember the goal against Oldham, I think, away at Oldham in one of the seasons, 94, 95, I think it was. Him and Peter Beasley. But Andy Cole, you know, dinked the ball literally over the top of the keeper whilst falling backwards near enough. And I think Wilson's in that category. I don't think Cole had the season he had. But I think he's the most instinctive goal scorer we've had in a long while. But the issue is staying fit.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we stuck him in the top half Premier League anyway. So just a reminder to anyone as well to make sure you hit that like button. I know everyone that's with us now has already hit subscribe, but if you're watching this back and you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button as well as the like button. Thank you very much.
2 things, Dad, before you move on. Jano's clarified his comment. He's put down, championship. I don't believe anyone is really injured that often. Sorry, if he's your striker, you are never going to make top half because he simply won't be available to play. I think the point will be the lucky thing we've got here is we've got Isaac, so we don't need to rely on him. So on that, but also just before we move on as well, that's the next player. I just want to say thanks to Lisa for letting us know about the Rangers minute silence. You could hear a pin drop, proper respect, not like Liverpool, and they're singing the anthem. Wow.
Yeah, after your UEFA
well done.
ban. Screw you, UEFA.
Right, we'll move on. And Ritchie, I hope you don't mind, but I'm going to put this one to Martin first. It is Mr. Allan Saint-Maximin. Martin, what are you having?
Top half Premier.
Top half Premier, no messing about. He had his mind made out already before he came on the show.
If he was consistent, I would have said Champions League all day long. I've already seen people in the chat giving me jip about ASM's inconsistency. Anybody that's watched me on these shows will know it's the only thing I criticise him for.
Cheers, Roy.
Cheers, Roy. Fair play to you. It's the only thing I criticise him for. 2 seasons ago was his final ball, lifting the head, final ball in the final third of the pitch. He has improved that massively. I give credit where it's due. But his inconsistency, for me, is still a problem. That's the only reason I wouldn't put him Champions League.
I'm going to jump in here next, and I'm going to put ASM in the Champions League. And the reason why, and if I spelled Champions League wrong, I'm just after just after noticing that there now. So I put him in the Champions League, and it's just basically on his performances in the last few games, he's been world class, and if he can keep continue that, he's a Champions League player, and I look forward to him taking us into the Champions League, and I look forward to the Ballon d'Or and Pete going along to collect that award and just laughing at Martin. But
I think Pete's gonna have his run for his money. I think Adam P will be collecting the Ballon d'Or.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Best one. But yeah, I'm putting him in the Champions League. And I know he it's hit and miss, but just on the last couple of games is where I'm targeting that decision. Ritchie.
You always couldn't be for the deciding vote, don't you?
No,
do you know what? I'm trying to look at this in a sensible view, right? I think he's far too good to be in the top half of the Premier League, right? But as Martin said, and I agree with this, his consistency lets him down for being in the Champions League. You should have it. We should have a fifth box now that should be Europa League, because at the moment in time, it's like, because look, we all saw what he did to Man City, right? We're talking about an England international, Champions League, experience and stuff like that, and he tore them another one. He was outstanding, best game hands down in a black and white shirt since he's been in the club, right? But then you get other games when he's just not in it. I think it's if you go back to the interview that he had at the end of the Man City game with Kieran Trippier is saying to him he's constantly mentoring him and trying to get the best out of him, and then you go to the Wolves game. He didn't really much do anything in that game, but his end product for the goal was Champions League level as well. So it's a really, really tough conversation. I know this one splits everyone, but at the same time, at this moment in time, I think he's one of the first names on the team sheet. And Eddie Howe said he doesn't want to go anywhere, and he just needs to fine-tune him a little bit to get a bit more out of him. So for me, I'll push him into the Champions League category. Fourth spot.
Yeah, you get into the... So
you have to qualify through the playoffs, Daz.
Ritchie, when ASM watches this back and he wants to give us a little watch there, just we can share it, right? We put him in the Champions League spot. But yeah, so that's ASM. Let's move on. I'm going to go first on this one. Matt Ritchie. I've been saying it for years, for a couple of years now. Matt Ritchie for me is in the Championship. I think he's a great leader. He's kind of a good voice to have around. Eddie Howe uses him to come on for the last 2 minutes. Sometimes he's about to bring him on, and then he changes his mind and doesn't bring him on. He's, to me, I'm afraid where we are now, he's kind of apologies, Matt Ritchie, but he's kind of a waste of squad space. If we had a few more to put in there, I wouldn't give him the squad place. But I think he could still do a great job in the Championship for me.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think he's a great servant. I think I can see him staying in some kind of coaching capacity. Yeah. I think under Eddie Howe, and to be honest, I'd be delighted with that. I think he very much deserves it. But I think, as in playing wise, listen, wears his heart in his sleeve, goes out, will run his socks off, but I think his legs have gone a bit. And again, similar to what I said with the likes of whoever the other one was who put the Championship, or talking about Shelvey, I just think with Ritchie, I think the game in the Premier League has upped itself. I think the pace of the game and everything else, his day is done. So Championship for me, but looking forward to hopefully see him stay as a coach or something. So I'd love to see him hang around the club because I think he's a real good influence.
Ritchie, he's going in the Championship anyway, but would you put him anywhere different?
No, it would be the Championship. But I've got to echo what Mark. I think he's always been a leader on the pitch. He's always given 100%, and that's the sort of thing you want from coaches. He'd be fantastic with like the under-23s or some of the academy players coming through. Be a fine example of those sort of players. So that sort of thing would be perfect. But obviously, he might want to go back down south where his family is. But see what happens. But yeah, for me, in the playing side of things, obviously his age now, the speed of the Premier League, you've got to look at Championship to lower leagues.
Grand. Cool. We're on the house again. All three agree. Next, Ritchie, I'm going to go to you first here because I know you had a lot thought about Jamal Lewis over the summer. So let's go to your thoughts on Jamal Lewis.
Do you know what? I still think there's a player in there, and the fact that obviously he's in the 25-man squad this time round. Bear in mind he was left out the second half of last season. There was a lot of rumours going on about his injury and they wanted to give him a layoff and recover properly. But we've always said that, you look at Jurgen Klopp. Jurgen Klopp doesn't want to sign a player for his team if he's a bad player. He just hasn't had a run. He's had a run in the team. He's had a lot of bad luck since he's come here, and obviously the majority of the time he's been here, he was coached by Steve Bruce. But I definitely think there's a player in there, and I think you could possibly see another Joelinton. I'm not saying that he's going to be as good as Joelinton, but you might see a lot more from him going forward. But at this moment in time, I think he's going to join Jonjo Shelvey in bottom half Premier League.
Bottom half Premier League. Martin, your thoughts? Jamal Lewis.
On who?
He's a guy we bought from Norwich.
Sorry, I was checking scores. Yeah, no, I agree with Rich. I think.
Yeah,
Moving on.
Yeah. And just to remind you, we are talking about Jamal Lewis, just in case you missed it. But yeah, I agree with Richie as well. He he's got injuries and stuff like that, but he's young as well, and he deserves another shot in the Premier League. And I don't think he'll be with us for that much longer today. I think he'll be gone in the summer. We'll sell him off. But yeah, I think that's his level.
Could even be the January window. Does
could if he gets yeah, you could go out and loan or something, yeah, as well. Okay, that's Jamal Lewis. Let's go to Matt Target. Martin, I'll go to you first. Matt Target.
Yeah, no, I think he's not Champions League, but definitely a good, solid top half Premier League for me.
Richie?
Yeah, I agree with that.
And I also agree with that. Around the house again. Yeah, he's surprised me, to tell you the truth. I didn't think he was as good as he was, and I think he probably surprised Villa as well. So that's even a bonus in itself. Yeah, but he definitely should be in a top half of the league. Maybe not top half, but he's definitely solid. And I like what he's done with us for so far. So Matt Target makes the top. Next up, Alexander Isak. For me, I'll go first in this one. It's easy. Champions League. He's a Champions League player. We paid 58 to 63 million for him. He's done well in that Liverpool game first, and yeah, I think we're looking forward to things to come, and I look forward to seeing him play in the Champions League first in the future.
Yeah, I'd agree, Daz. I think he's a top player. So I think it'd be interesting to see how he gets on against West Ham this coming weekend. Provided both us and West Ham don't get fucked over by VAR. Probably
it's Bournemouth at the weekend, Martin. I can tell you how
Bournemouth. Sorry, yeah. So yeah, look, I mean, there's a great game for him. Sorry, yeah, I was thinking about the West Ham game. Yeah, no, he's class, Daz. He's a class act. I think he'll get a good season to settle. Yeah, we'll keep him for now. Yeah,
we'll keep. Richie,
I don't agree with Yano.
What do you say?
Hashtag top at the minute. Loads of potential.
Wow, he's a tough man to please.
I know he is. But for me, it's simple. Fabian Schär.
Yeah, around the house. Yeah.
Yeah, around the house.
All three agree. Nice one. Isak in the Champions League. Next up, he's injured at the moment, but Emil Krafth. Richie, we'll go with you first. And he's not in the 25-man squad.
Yeah, we obviously know it's the only reason why he's not the squad's down. It's down to the fact it's a long-term injury he's got. There's a chance he could miss the whole season because it's that bad. But I think he's really surprised a lot of people. A lot of people had Manquillo ahead of Krafth, or there was, they could take either or. But whenever Trippier was missing last year and Krafth came in, he did a really good job in covering him. You can tell he's been worked on in training and helped defensively as well. It also helped the fact that we were returned to 4 at the back and played him at right back rather than a right centre half where he'd been played before as well. And he's sort of proven to why he's being classed as an international fullback and then all the Swedish squad. So, but for me, he's not Champions League level. So I'll put him just in the top half. Just.
I'm going to jump in next because I want to give the casting decision to Martin. I'm going to put him in the bottom half there. I agree with everything you said, Ritchie, and especially in the comparisons to Manquillo. Manquillo would have been ahead for me before, but Krafth really pulled it out in the last season, and he was a solid backup for Trippier. But for me, it's bottom half Premier League. So that's one top, one bottom. Martin.
Championship. No. What happens if I do that? Yeah,
we're deadlocked. We're in deadlock. We go to the. We have to go to the audience then.
I gotta be honest. I like Krafth. I think he's okay. I think he's a good player. But he's definitely not a top half Prem. So I think I'm going to go with you, Daz. I think he's a good, solid bottom half Premier League player. When he comes in, he's consistent. Bloody unlucky with the injury, because he is a good understudy and a good backup. But yeah, I hope he gets better soon and we get him back into some game time because I think he's a good little player.
Yep.
All right, we'll do a twist or just on obviously how Joelinton for Life and Yano did before. Okay, you look, we've put Lewis and Krafth in the bottom half of the Premier League. But who would you say is the better fullback of them? Or do you think that Krafth's a better one than Lewis? So potentially could be in the top half? Or do you think that Lewis is at the same level as Krafth now and potentially could be top half?
I think Krafth, if he wasn't injured, is
Kraft's a better player now, I think.
Now, but Lewis has the potential, but we haven't seen it. That's the big thing, and we always harp back to Liverpool we're trying to buy him as well, and they wouldn't pay the 15 million. But so yeah.
To be fair to Lewis, he got his injuries, but like many a player who had potential, they were fucked over by Steve Bruce, and I feel sorry for the kid because he didn't get to show. And Daz, you made a good point. Liverpool were after him. I personally think there's a player in there, and maybe he has got all the potential in the world. I would love to have. For me, I think we should have loaned him out. If he's over the injury and everything else, I think we should have let him go out on loan, and we should have given him some game time, even if it was down a league for a season or down to a lower league, Premier League. With a no play against a stipulation or something. I think we should have given the kid some game time. I think keeping him at the club. Listen, Eddie, we've seen makes all the right decisions, so he's there for a reason. But I think he could have done with game time this season.
Yeah, I think so too. It's another season of never playing or just playing in. He did play in.
Why would you want to hang around?
Cup. Yeah, it. I don't know. Yeah, it's crazy. We'll move on. Manquillo. Maybe I'll jump first here. Where do I want to put Manquillo? He could still do a job at the bottom half of the Premier League, but I'm going to put him in the bottom half of the Premier League. He's still decent enough there at that level, but and he's definitely not going to get any higher. And it's the downward trajectory he's going. But that's where I'm putting him.
I'm saying championship.
Championship for Manquillo.
Yeah.
Ritchie.
Great player, had his time, but I think Premier League wise his days are done.
I love how Daz has put the cursor where he thinks I'm going to say. That's quite funny.
I'm ready.
I don't know whether you did that deliberately or not, Daz, but I noticed it.
I'm second guessing you, Ritchie, because I was half thinking of putting him there myself, but I said I give him another chance. But go on, break the news to Manquillo.
Is this where I've got to put him in Champions League to put you out in misery? Is it?
yeah, do that.
No, I've got a cat nails chance to it. For me, I've actually got to agree. I think you need to click on that number 4 under Matt Ritchie and put him there. I think, he's a solid enough defender and stuff like that. He's been exposed a few times in the Premier League, so he's probably at that championship level, unfortunately. So that's where I think you need to put him.
that's fair enough. Let's move on. Let's go with this one. I'm going first in this. Chris Wood, definitely sticking Chris Wood in the championship. No, he definitely. I'm not even going to make a case for him for the bottom half of the Premier League. He what he does, he's good at, but we don't play to that strength, his strengths, and I just think he'd be classed in the he'd boss the championship. So. Sorry, and I'm already after putting them in. I'll let you have a decision as well. Martin, I'm going to go to you next here because I think you still have a bit of a soft spot for Chris Wood.
Yeah, Champions League for me. No. Yeah, look, bottom half Premier League for me. I think he can do a job. We just don't play to his style, but it cannot be underrated how good a job he did for us the back end of last season. And I know people say, like Daz did, oh, he's never going to score, but he did. But I think it's his off the ball work for me that won him my favour last season. So for that reason, and I think he could still do a good job, international player, and he knows how to hit the back of the net. I just think if you're not playing from the wings and whipping balls in that he can launch into, he's a battering ram, then you're not really going to get the best out of him.
He takes a good pen. I give him that. Richie?
Just take a good pen.
Joe, I've been shut away and laughing at myself here. All the comments coming through. I think these one sums it up right, because obviously, for Wood to be firing, right, it needs to be erect. But obviously, hashtag low is pretty quite sufficient on this one at the minute. He's obviously not firing, so hashtag lower the Wood, kind of do it. But yeah, I think on that one, I think that pretty much sums it up. I think championship level for me, Daz.
Championship level. You always lower the tone though, Richie. Jesus.
Well, I'm learning off Martin. I spent a couple of few days with Martin the other week, so it's lowered the tone even more.
It's actually a very, very polite evening, Richie.
It was actually, yeah.
Right. This one might be interesting. Ryan Fraser. I think I'll go to Richie first with this one. Where are you sticking Ryan Fraser?
Ryan Fraser's a player I like, but he's a fantastic backup for Miggy and for Allan, because obviously he plays on both flanks, which we've discussed before. However, I just want a little bit more out of him. I think he could do a job for the next 18 months or so for me, and on the way we're turning over of playing staff over the next few windows and how quickly the project seems to be going now with some of the players will be able to get in, windows early. I think you're probably going to have to stick him in there, the Jonjo Shelvey and Jamal Lewis category. So I'd be putting him in bottom half of the Premier League.
Bottom half of the Premier League, okay.
Yeah.
Like you've created a new box, the Jonjo Shelvey box. Martin? Mr. Ryan
I'd say bottom. What Richie, you said what? Championship?
Bottom of the Premier League.
Problem. Yeah, no, I'd agree. Bottom of the Premier League. I like him. I think he can definitely do a job for somebody, but he's definitely not going to be a top half or anywhere near that.
Yeah, no, for me as well. I was putting him in the bottom as well. He kind of promised a lot when we thought that the link up that he had with Wilson in the past, but there hasn't been as many games as we would have liked that the two of them are on the pitch at the same time to really. There has been a few and they have linked up at times, but no, I put them in the bottom as well. So I agree. We shall move on. Let us go to the King,
Elvis.
Nope. Wrong King. Mr. Burger King. Nick Pope.
I'll go first. Champions League.
Champions League. Martin goes
For
first.
me, yeah.
Ritchie. And yeah, I said Champions League first. Then I thought maybe top, but I then said on current form and the way he's playing, Champions League for me as well.
Speaking of Champions League. Is he going on?
Yeah, there's a goal. Oh. I thought you when you said, do you know what I actually thought you were going to say is Martin, when you said, oh look, Champions League is because Pete's arrived.
Exactly.
Welcome, Pete.
Nothing to do with the football.
Well, you said there was a comment, so what make your mind up, mate?
No, I didn't say no comment. I just seen Pete dropping on. So
I said
you
there
know,
was a comment.
it's like
I put the Champions League score in there.
top of the league. You know, the top of the league lads on. That was the comment.
So first of all, let's welcome Pete. And all good, buddy.
Yeah. Apologies, I was late. My little
hassle.
daughter's secondary school open evening, so of course that has to take priority.
Don't worry about it, mate. I haven't been on for 6 months.
Welcome back, by the way. Anyway,
thank you, mate, and thanks for all your messages and that from yourself and the family and that. Much appreciated, mate. Thank you.
So, Pete, we'll continue on from where we are, but what we'll do at the end is we'll revisit the first 5 selections in each of the boxes and see if you have any difference of opinion in any of them, or if you agree. So we're on Nick Pope. Would you stick Nick Pope in which box would you put him in?
Interesting. I think it's easy to say he's top half Premier League because he's good. He's very good. He's probably one of the.
That was fleeting. Anyway, Premier League. Move on. Next player.
No,
no, he's back. Kitchen's been done, but there's no money left for the broadband.
Nah.
Yeah, I think he's just a bit further away from the Wi-Fi. That's the problem. Okay.
Well, we'll move on to the next one there, Daz, and then
we'll move on. And we'll come back. Let's go to and add yourself back in, Pete, when you come back. So next up is Jacob Murphy. I'm gonna go first here. I'm sticking Jacob Murphy in the Championship where he belongs and where he should have stayed with his brother.
We signed the wrong player.
We had a debate about that the other day. But,
look, Championship. He's I'm not even going to get into it. Yeah, Championship for me. Sorry, lads. Rich.
I've got to agree with what Lisa says. To be fair, and PDK. He was offered he wanted to go on loan to Gateshead, but Gateshead turned him down. That's what I basically say. So there you go. Championship low leagues for me, easy.
Is that real?
No, fucking hell, man.
I didn't hear that one. Right, I'll go back to reading the comments as well so I can keep up. Jacob Murphy is in the championship. Let us go to Miggy. Let's go to Miggy. Martin. Attention. Come on. Attention.
Just keeping up on the scores. Miggy. Sorry, boys. Fuck.
Hey, Pete. Welcome back.
I don't know. This is a real tough one for me. I'm kind of tempted to say bottom half Premier League because he does a lot of running around. But
did that in the North Run as well? The Great North Run.
Is he top half? Do you know what? I'm gonna go top half because of the effort he puts in, but I don't think he gets to stay there for a long time. But I'll go top for now.
Top for now. Right, we're going to bring Pete in on this one. Sorry, Pete. We've moved on past Nick Pope. We're on Miggy. What box are you putting Miggy into?
I might disappear again, so who knows? Let's wait and see. But Miggy, for me, I think he is top half Premier League. And yes, he might not be very productive, but I tell you what he gives you tactically puts him in the top half of the table. His running, his ability to stretch defenders and cause problems has been a big reason why we've started the season so well, in my opinion. So for me, he'd be top half for sure.
You can't knock his effort, Pete, I don't think.
100%, Mark. You can't. And look, we've all been frustrated with him, I think, over the course of the last few years he's been at the club. But I think I think I've spoke about this on previous loaded shows, is that what I've seen this season is actually I now understand what he gives to the team. And it might not be assists and goals all the time, but he gives something a little bit different. And he allows us tactically to be very, very good on the press, which is what Eddie Howe has built his team around. So I think that's crucial to the way we're going to move forward. He won't be here forever, but it will certainly be a big part in how we progress forward.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's 2 tops for Miggy. Ritchie.
Same. And do you know what? I just want to throw back to when we did squad game, and I still can't believe there was a couple of the panel actually put Murphy over Miggy. I'm just in utter shock.
But Ritchie, at that time, Miggy was playing as well as Murphy. They were pretty level. But
no. Miggy's never ever played as bad as Murphy. I'm sorry, like.
Ritchie scored a free kick, or Murphy scored a free kick.
Did I choose? Please tell me I didn't choose Murphy.
I think there was a few of us that were kind of on the fence with them.
Definitely gonna be me because I haven't been on, so I'm not to blame for this one.
No, this is. Oh no, you missed that show as well, Martin. This is back before the season ended, actually. But we could have a few of us could have picked Murphy, but if you recall, directly after that show, Miggy turned it up a gear and he hasn't looked back. So
if I chose Murphy, I'm disgusted with myself. I'm disgusted. I hope I might need to watch that back because I
can remove that show from the internet, Pete. Don't worry.
Yeah,
I can only imagine if Pete, if you did that, there was a lot of brandy involved somewhere along the line.
I'm not being funny, Mark. Even the brandy's not an excuse for choosing Murphy. For fuck's sake.
I think I'm the only one here who's confident to know that I'd actually pick Miggy hands down over Murphy.
Yeah, no, you did. You definitely did. So I think we all kind of said top half for Premier League for Miggy there, more or less. So yeah, let's move on. Next one is Carl Darlow, who's injured at the moment, and the reason why we've had to bring in a replacement keeper, and the stupidity of probably letting Dubravka go out as well. But Carl Darlow, what are you having, Pete?
I'm just disappointed he's not got the fuck out of this club yet. I'm sorry. Like I want him gone. I don't rate him. I don't. And people might think I'm really being harsh with Darlow. I don't rate him. I don't think he's a Premier League goalkeeper. I think he's purely Championship, maybe top half Championship, but I just don't rate him. I just don't think he's a good goalkeeper personally, and I'm surprised he's not been shipped out. But with Karius coming in, I imagine you've talked about Karius already, but
no, not yet.
Okay, with Karius coming in, I fully expect Darlow to be moved on in January.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm going to go next. I'm going to slightly disagree with you, Pete. I think he could still do a job for a bottom half Premier League team. And the reason why I say that is I think back to the season he had where he replaced Dubravka, and we couldn't. There was a time where we said, "Will Dubravka get back in?" He was playing out of his. No, he hasn't replicated that form since so much, but. I think if I was a bottom half Premier League club, I'd take a chance on him. Like bottom. Martin.
Yeah, I think there's a lot you can take into credit with Darlow. I think to be fair, the point you make, Daz, is good. But I think to be fair, he's another Lascelles for me. It's just we're still carrying way too much of that Championship squad that we had for me. And we're another 2-3 seasons on, so I think it needs another good overhaul, and I think Darlow needs to be gone and shot. So Championship for me, I don't think he's bottom end or other. I think he'd do a good job elsewhere.
I think for me, yeah, he's Championship for me. He's proved at that level he was good when we were down there. That game when we went back to Forest, he did quite well in that game. Obviously, he had the penalties against him when we were down to 9 men and stuff like that. So it's that for me, that's purely his level. He's probably a third choice, which people are coming up in the chat. He's third choice all day long. So for me, he's championship in the lower league.
Okay, 3 for championship. He's in the championship, lower leagues. We'll move on to Joe Willock. Ritchie, I think we'll go to you next here and first in this one. Joe Willock, where are you putting him?
It's another one of those tough ones, isn't it? It's like, I think you've got to put at this moment in time, looking at what we've got and looking where we've put other people so far. I think at this moment in time, he's got to be in the top half of Premier League. But it's like it's one of these ones where you'd probably say he's in 9th or 10th sort of thing. He's, you know, he is going to be one of probably the first out of the cycle, but because he's come in, you know, newer than some of the players like Shelvey and Fry and Fraser and stuff like that, I think he's got a bit more time to you know, credit to go sort of thing. I think that's probably where he is, but he could easily be bottom half, and I wouldn't be surprised if people put him in the bottom half either. But for me, lower half of the top half of the Premier League.
Okay, so he's going to the top. And sorry, Richie, I wasn't laughing at you. I was laughing at Yano's comment. And one of our famous comments says, so he's put them in top and bottom. Thanks, Yano, for that one. So we've one for top. Martin, we go to you next. Willock.
Yeah, no, I think he deserves to be in the top. It's a hard one for me. I just wonder. I think for me, there's two things with him. I think he's a bit of a confidence player, and I think Eddie Howe's probably the right man to get the best out of him. But I think the thing sometimes when I watch Willock is I think he sometimes doubts his own confidence. I think he's had, and look, I'm sure Pete will follow on after me. I think he's had real good opportunities where he should have taken the shot or he could have finished, and I think sometimes he's just looking for that extra pass and kind of doubts his own ability, which, you know, if you look at the season, you know, when we had him on loan and he was on fire in that streak, you know, he was taking shots from all over the park. So I think he definitely deserves to be in the top, but I think his own brain can be his downfall, for want of a better word, with the confidence. And I think the only other thing is he's a bit of a streak player, so he comes good and bad in streaks, and we seem to be getting longer streaks of poor than good. But so top for me, yeah.
Top for me. Okay, before Pete jumps in here, because I have a feeling I know where Pete's going to put Willock. But I'm going to say my first that I'm going to put as a starter. And for Willock, I would put him in the bottom half. As a sub, impact sub off the bench, I put him in the top half. So as he's starting now, and when we said at the start, we're going to base it on now. Oh, look, I'll just put him in the top half. Because
that's a 360.
I'm going to be outnumbered here. I'm feeling. Go on, Pete. Sing his praises.
No, I'm the odd one out here.
What did I change my mind?
Yeah, I'm the odd one out here. But look, like I think what's really, really important, and I can't remember who's just said it. PDK put, and I assume he's referring to Joe Willock. They put that he's 22. I think he's 22, 23 years old. I mean, I assume that he's referring to Willock in that he is still really young and still got time to grow and develop.
Well, he's definitely not talking about Carl Darla, who was the person before, so I think it is Willock.
Yeah, he has to be. Not unless you talk about someone in the Champions League. I have no idea. But look, for me, I think where Newcastle finished last year in 11th spot is roughly where Willock should be in terms of his ability at this moment in time. You know, we could go into little snippets. If you look at his loan form when he was on loan, he's top half, no doubt about it. He's goal scorer, was brilliant for his off the bench, then starting. But consistently, he's probably at the top of the bottom half of the Premier League. Now, will he stay that way for long? I think Eddie Howe. I actually think Eddie Howe really likes Joe Willock, and I think he really wants to persist with him and allow him the opportunity to produce his best football. But he's just not quite there yet, in my opinion, for a top half footballer. But I do rate him. I think, like Miggy, he has a key role in the team, and I think he would develop and get better. The only reason I put Miggy in the top half ahead of Willock is because I just believe that Miggy could go to a Europa League, Champions League even side, maybe somewhere in Spain, and still play well. I think if Joe Willock went to a similar side, I think he'd find himself on the bench, and I think that's maybe the slight difference between the two. But yeah, bottom off, right at the top, 11th, 10th kind of position. It's really tight, but you know, he's a good player.
So that means that we've got 2 for top, 2 for bottom. So this is the first time.
Oh, did you change again?
No, I changed it. Yeah, I changed it. So it's 2 and 2. So now, Ritchie, you have the job of trying to figure out from the chat. So let's do it now.
I'll tell you what, we'll go on to who's next on the list. Gillespie.
Well,
well,
Gillespie,
that'll be a quick one.
For 5 seconds.
Do we even need to talk about it?
No, you're right. We don't. Does he still even play football? Anyone disagree with that? Around the house,
have we got like a Southwood section, a League Two section somewhere down there? Stick him in.
No, but I'm sure he's a nice guy and everything. But yeah, we've never seen him play. We saw him play in the League Cup once, and that was it. So Richie, you keep an eye on the voting there as it's coming through. For just a reminder, vote top for Willock or vote bottom for Willock. We'll give you the end of us talking about Elliot Anderson to make the call on that. So next up is Mr. Elliot Anderson. I'm going to go first here on this one. And I was thinking about this all day. I was thinking about this one. And I'm thinking, okay, in the future, I think he could be potential. And we're talking about now, the here and now, not 5 years in the future. So in the future, he could be a top Premier League player. But I think where he is now, and he's only starting to get going, starting to get games. I think I would put him. Well, ideally, we're talking about putting him on loan actually the summer, but I would put him in the bottom half of the Premier League. Potential to be in the top half and the Champions League in the future, but where he is now, I'm saying bottom half Premier League. And it's probably not going to be popular, but Martin.
Elliot Anderson. Yeah. Oh man, fuck, that's tough. There's definitely a player there, without a doubt. And the glimpses I've seen of him when he comes on, I'd love to see him get more game time because I think he could be immense. And I think we've got a real talent on our hands. And I know he hasn't played lots of game time, and not everybody will agree, but I'm going to put him in the top half because I think he's a star waiting to burst. So for that reason, I'm going to put him in the top half.
No, yeah, see the logic in it, right, Martin? Ritchie.
It's another tough one. For me, you look at the players that we've put in certain sections, right? And I think he's already at the level of where we've put Miggy in the top half of Premier League. He comes on, and when he's been coming on, he's been, like as Dar said before about Willock is an impact sub. You would put him at the top of the Premier League because that's how you'd see him. He's fantastic at energy. They would bring if he did that. You look at what Anderson's already bringing coming off the bench, and people are already crying out for him to be getting into that. Get a start now. He's knock on the door of Eddie Howe saying, look, well, you're going to give me a chance. You're going to give me a chance. And for me, he's better than all of the 4 names we've got in the bottom half of the Premier League. So for me, on that base, I'd have to put him up in the top of the Premier League.
So that's 2 for top, 1 for bottom. Pete?
I think a few of the people in the chat have made some good points. Jana just put Anderson hasn't currently even been proven at championship level yet, which is true. I think that's a fair point. But then Andrew's come back with and said that Anderson hasn't even put a foot out of place when he's come on, and that's true as well.
Yeah.
He hasn't played enough football for me to put him in the top half. That's just my opinion. Yeah, I don't think he's played enough football to justify that position. But I agree with Martin Ritchie. I think he will be there. There's no doubt about it. He's that good.
I think so too.
I would put him in. I would probably put him in the bottom half of the Premier League. Some people have said, or I think one or two people have said, he's at the same level of Willock. He's not at the same level of Willock. He'll probably surpass Willock at some point, but he's not at the same level as Willock. Willock plays regular football in a tactical system for Newcastle United. It's very different to being a starter in a tactical setup to play teams than just coming on when the game's stretched and influencing the game, although he's doing that, which is great. So I think we'll probably see for the first few starts when he eventually gets them for Newcastle, maybe a very different Elliot Anderson that we do than the impact sub, because it's easy to play 15, 20 minutes compared to 60, 70 minutes of a game and stay tactically aware. That's just, again, that's just my opinion. So I would say bottom half of the Premier League is probably a fair assessment.
Okay, so that makes it interesting again. So, Ritchie, stop the voting on Willock because you're soon going to have to start it on Anderson.
I've been keeping an eye on both, so I can give you the answer to both now, mate. So it's
great.
all right.
So tell us Joe Willock first.
Well, the Joe Willock one, I got 16 comments. Actually, no, I haven't. There's a few I'd done before, but let's go back down. Let's have a look. Right. Champions League. Top. Champions League. Scroll down a bit further. Then we've got mid-table. Willock will be better than Joelinton. Top.
Mid-table. Who said mid-table?
Top.
There's no mid-table option.
Top. I think it's because I said 8th or 9th and Pete said 10th. So they've just jumped on that bandwagon, I think. Sort of thing.
This is a confusing enough game with 4 boxes without somebody shouting at me, go mid-table. I don't even know what I'm doing with the 4.
It was a bad show really to bring you back for Martin.
Yeah,
it was all going to stretch you.
Gaz is like, are you coming back on this week? Are you coming back on? It's just me, you, and Ritchie. Not sure about Pete. Chris is away. Yeah, grand. I'll come back on. Ease myself back in. Right, there's 4 boxes. Here's 30 players. Decide which one. I haven't a clue what's going on.
You don't even remember the players.
Brilliant.
We play in black and white, by the way.
Oh, that's okay. I get that bit. Actually, can we just sorry, Daz, to rudely interrupt, just to go back.
Can we sell Willock just to make it easy?
Yeah, go on. Finish off on Willock. Go on.
Top.
Top. He's going top. Right.
Yeah, sticking top.
Question for Pete. Obviously, we were talking about Elliot Anderson, right? And we obviously hope that he's going to be the player that we think is there. And you made the comment about, playing for 15 minutes as a sub and then doing 60 being tactically aware. If we think he's the player, and some have likened him to a Gaza and so on, a bit of a free spirit, that when he gets the ball, he's got that kind of low center of gravity, in and out of defenders, kind of runs through that middle. As we progress, if he progresses, do you think, Pete, if he flourishes into the player that we know or we think we've got, do you think Eddie, if he's still there, will not need him to be as tactically aware if he can pull players apart?
You're referring to Elliot Anderson?
Yes.
You want to answer my question?
No, it's fine.
Like I see what you're saying about like currently, and I take Yano's point about he's not proved, but he strikes me from when I've seen him play, and also when he played for Bristol Rovers under Joey Barton. Yeah, it didn't really seem to have a role. He was kind of drifting between that top 2 for Bristol, and kind of picking up the ball slightly more advanced of a higher midfield, and Joey Barton seemed to just sit him in that kind of a 10 position at times.
Yeah.
And give him not necessarily a free role, but give him enough room to do what he could do.
Yeah.
So I'm just wondering, as he progresses, has he is he the kind of player that, might not necessarily be tied to a position?
No, it's a really good point, Mark, and I think that's it's a really good point. I think I would like to say yes, because I think that's where you're going to get, and I think this is what you're alluding to. This is probably where you're going to get the best football from Elliot Anderson if he is given that opportunity. I just see Eddie Howe very strict with his formation. He's had opportunities to play ASM in that position, Miggy in that position, players that normally play in that position and is their better position, and he hasn't, and he stuck to his guns with that 4-3-3. And I almost feel that he believes in that formation, and it's going to be a case of not necessarily deviating that formation for a player, but that player being able to mold himself into Eddie Howe's expectations. So I see what he did when he came on the left-hand side of midfield, and I saw someone that could play there eventually on a regular basis. And if I'm honest with you, Mark, I don't see him drifting, in that number 10. I don't think we'll have a number 10. I think if we wanted a number 10, I think we'd have got Lucas Paqueta, because he'd have been the perfect player for that position, in my opinion. Yeah. And I think that's probably the big reason why we didn't get him. But I actually see his future on the left-hand side of Newcastle United's midfield, or attacking three, should I say. That's just my early observations of him from the few minutes that we've seen.
Okay, cool.
Ritchie, back to you. And the votes in for Elliot Anderson. Where are we taking him?
Yeah, it was closer than the Willock one, but it was just in the bottom half.
Bottom half. Cool.
Oh, really?
I
saw loads of tops.
There was a lot of top. There was quite a few that were like bottom, and it mainly said it could be top if it was, we saw more of him, he played more often. There was a lot saying purely on the minutes he's had so far. You have to say bottom half, because would you say he's better than Fraser? But then, so it's like, it was a really, really close one, but you're right. There was a lot of top and it was closer, but it was just narrowly bottom.
Okay. We shall move on. We shall move on to Mr. Dan Burn. For me, Dan Burn has proved himself, and I'm going to put him in the top half Premier League for me. Solid player. Didn't think he surprised me. An awful lot better than I thought he was going to be. And even if he wasn't playing for us, I think he still should play in the top half Premier League team. Pete.
Dan Burn. I think, I don't know what you boys think. I think this is the best football of his career. This is the best football. He's playing better than he played at Brighton. We've actually signed him for 30 million, and he's playing better for us than he ever played for them, which is brilliant. For me, I would put him top half of the Premier League.
Yep.
I'm just going to leave it as that, top half of the Premier League.
So that's two tops for Dan Burn. Ritchie.
I have to agree. I think he's not to the same level as Sven Botman, but he's been equally as good as what Fabian Schär has been. And so for me, he has to go in that top half. He hasn't been a foot wrong since he's come to Newcastle. He's been fantastic for me. So definitely top half Premier League.
Martin.
I think he deserves to be in the top based on, as Ritchie said, form since coming in. But I think Lisa makes a really good point there on the chat. I think we've moved up a notch now. So I think I'll put him in the top for now, but I don't think he's going to stay there. No. I think we've moved up a few gears.
That's fair enough. Yeah. No.
Top for now, but I think decent bottom prem as we move forward with the way we're going.
You think he's got a decent bottom, did you just say there?
Yeah, listen, I've seen him in shorts.
Again, Ritchie, lowering the tone.
No.
And Richie's on the hat trick. Right. I think I'm going to go to Pete for this one. First, I'm going to go to Sean Longstaff. Pete, your thoughts on Sean Longstaff?
Oh, Longy. Longy, easily bottom half Premier League for me. Not done enough to prove himself at top half of the Premier League. You know what? I have to say, I don't know whether you boys agree, some people have been throwing pelters at Sean Longstaff. It's very, very difficult to come in and replace Bruno Guimaraes, who's just fucking class. He's just fucking class, isn't he? Let's be honest. So you are going to drop down a few levels when you've lost Bruno Guimaraes and replaced him with Sean Longstaff. But I actually think he's done all right. He's got an assist under his belt for Isak's goal at Anfield. I think he's done all right. He's a squad player for Newcastle United moving forward. Let's be honest. I don't think he'll ever break in and be a regular first team player, maybe with injuries like now. But yeah, I think he's done all right. But I think he's a bottom half Premier League player. Again, around that 10th, 11th, 12th position.
Yeah, no, good call. Ritchie, we'll go to you next. Thoughts on your fellow Geordie?
I've got to agree with Pete, echo exactly what he said. He was going to hide and nothing, having to come in and cover for Bruno Guimaraes. You know what I mean? It's like there's nobody, pretty much in that team really is on the same level as Bruno. I'm including people like ESM and possibly even Isak at the minute. Do you know what I mean? They're not at that level yet. He's just different class, and he was always a hiding the nothing. But you look at Joe Willock's been getting picked over, and we put Joe Willock in the top. So for me, it's it's common sense to put him in the bottom half of the Premier League. I'm not saying that he's if he can get back to how he was playing when Rafa was there, when he first broke into the team, and he really had someone believing him behind it. And obviously, we know Eddie Howe likes him. It's whether he can get that back and then get the extra out of him to make sure he's going to be part of the squad going forward long term. But at this moment in time, he's in the bottom of the Premier League, and if he's got to up his game, or he's going to be looking to, possibly championship, all lower leagues after that for the box.
Good shot, Ritchie. So 2 bottom for Longstaff. Martin.
Oh man. I'm gonna sound terrible, but I'm gonna go championship, lads. I'm sorry, but I think the thing, to be fair, Ginger Pilo makes a really good point on the chat there. He can be so fucking championship that it does frustrate the shit out of you. But then, like the Liverpool game, the pass he played in to Isak for the goal was class. But again, he ticks along, but again, it's another consistency for me. And if it was going to happen, it would have done. So I think the way we're going, is he, as Pete says, is he going to get the game time? Probably not. So I just think he's on a bit of a hiding to nothing. So I think he's lower bottom half Premier League heading into the championship. So I'm sorry, but I don't. Yeah, I can't see it. I can't even see another Premier League taking him.
That's a bit harsh, but for me, everyone's has their opinion. Yeah,
Chris. To be fair, still only one.
And we have to let Pete know as well what.
It's all opinions. All opinions, and you see different things in different players. What I see, Pete might not. What Dad sees, Ritchie might not. It's all opinionated.
I actually understand where Martin's coming from. I put him bottom half of the Premier League, but I couldn't understand why he could think. Look, let's be honest, right? What Martin's saying, if this was January, I think we'd all agree. With Martin. If this was January and he was on the verge of moving to Everton, and let's face it, we were all going, yeah, go on, doing this. See you later.
I think the thing is, Pete, I think we're still sitting here, and if you look at some of these names on this list, you look at the names we're pushing into the championship. These are still players that are part of our 25-man bloody squad. Some of them,
all 7
and
of them,
they're still the bulk of the squad. From 2-3 seasons ago in the championship.
Yeah,
that's why this is interesting.
And now for me is the time that I think, and to be fair, I don't think Eddie Howe or the club will be. If we want to move on, we got to progress the way we're going to do. There is no room for emotion and to be going, well, he's good sometimes and he's a local lad and this, that, and the other. Fuck that shit. We're either moving up or we're not. So for me, Longstaff did a job. Okay, alongside Shelvey. Is he great and any better than J7, Bruno, or anybody else? No, he's not. I'd rather even have Anderson in there before I have Longstaff. So for me, he has to go.
Right. Okay. So it's 2 bottom half and 1 for championship. So and I'm saying bottom half as well. Look, I think he does. He's a decent squad player. Good at when someone's injured. And he does put in a shift first. And it can be hit and miss, but no, he's bottom half. And I think a Premier League club would take him. I can't if we were to sell him.
If a Premier League club takes him, Daz, you get another tattoo.
I can't see him going anytime soon, but yeah, when I have space with after the Joelinton one, that's the thing. Yeah, actually, I wanted to tell Pete this because this was the big controversial one, and it's concerning Yano. We did Callum Wilson, and if you look at Callum Wilson, he's sitting there in the top half of the Premier League. First of all, would you agree or disagree with that, Callum Wilson?
So where's Callum Wilson?
He's in the top half. He's here.
So what was the disagreement?
Yano put him in lower in the championship.
What?
Yeah.
Callum Wilson in the championship? Is that serious? Come on, Yano.
But Yano also makes some good points, like his next comment, which says Everton wanted Longstaff, which tells you everything you need to know about how piss poor he actually is.
Well, yeah, I mean, this was January. I look, in January, like, as I said, all of us, Yano, all of us would have agreed with you with regards to that, and I think we all expected him to leave. But I do believe that Longstaff has improved. But Wilson in the championship, fuck, man. No, I don't agree with that at all. I thought Yano was going to say, yeah, he's going to be like Champions League or something.
Yeah.
And
he's surprised.
Cost kind of thing.
No. But Yano went full on Championship, but Championship League.
But yeah, no, top half of the Premier League is right for Wilson, definitely, in my opinion.
Right, let's move on. I think it's going to be around the house. We give it one of these. It is Bruno Guimaraes. Anyone disagree that he should be in the Champions League?
No.
Yeah, I disagree.
Higher.
I disagree. Can we make a new space for the European Super League, please? We need to make room for the European Super League, and we need to put Bruno Guimaraes in it because that's how good he is. He's Super League.
Yeah, no, he's good. He's good. I don't think anyone will disagree with that. Right. Let's fly through some of these because some of them are on loan and they're never coming back. Or
That's while you're doing that, just to clarify what we were talking about Yano, about Wilson. I have actually scrolled back through for you. Yeah. He actually put down #lower, and then he clarified it by saying, "Yep, Championship. I don't believe anyone is really injured that often. Sorry, if he's your striker, you are never going to make top half because he simply won't be available to play."
He's okay, and logic there, but Wilson Championship, no way. Sorry, I don't. Right, let's move on. Kieran Clark. Anyone disagree with Championship? No, I didn't think so. Right, that was easy. We move on to Isaac Hayden. I am saying for Isaac Hayden, I think he can still do a job in the bottom half of the Premier League. Martin.
Yeah, I would. To be fair, I'd agree. I still like him as a player. So yeah, for me, he could do a really good job.
Ritchie.
Yeah, I agree. I still think Hayden could do a job for a bottom half Premier League team.
Cool. We'll stick him in. We'll get Pete's opinion when he comes back. Jeff Hendrick. Championship. Martin.
Yeah, he's definitely that level. That's
Jeff Hendrick gone. Yeah, good luck.
Yeah, good luck. Yeah. Dan Langley is listed here. So, I don't know an awful lot about him. I haven't seen that much of him playing, but probably he could do with time in the Championship to get some experience or lower. And
you'd have to say that. I think that's you're right. You'd have to put him at that level because we haven't seen him Do you know what I mean? He's a young lad coming through anyway. So if he was to, he's at that level where he needs to have a loan, as you said. That would be, he would probably go to a team in the lower leagues. That's where his place would be. So that's pretty much where he would be.
Martin. Dan Langley.
Gone.
Gone.
It's just not all gone, no?
Yeah, it is pretty much. Matty Longstaff, I think he's gone on loan now. Is it to Colchester? He's gone to. I think he's not coming back playing the Premier League anytime soon. It might happen in the future, but it won't be for Newcastle.
Yeah, Welsh Premier Division. Bye. Wrexham are looking for players.
Wrexham, yeah. Ryan Reynolds. Right. And no disagreements there. Ritchie, any?
No, Pete, that's his level, mate. He's proved it.
Pete will come back and we'll be gone. We'll be finished. There he is. Sorry, we flew through them, Pete.
Go for it. Don't worry.
Haven't missed much.
Yeah. I think you would probably put Kieran Clark in the Champions League, Pete. You'd agree with that?
No, what was it called? The National League. The National League. Yeah,
League of Ireland. Right. Let me see. Matty Longstaff. Pete, where would you stick Matty Longstaff? Can you ever see him come back in the Premier League?
No, Matty Longstaff for me is Championship at best. I've already kind of made my mind upon him. I don't think he'll make it as a Premier League player. Certainly not make it in Newcastle. Not down to him necessarily. I think his development was halted by the previous ownership. But yeah, unfortunately, I don't think he'll make it in Newcastle.
We're on Kellen Watts. I think he needs to get some game time. Did he go on? I don't think he went on loan. But he needs game time.
He's got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he's still. I think he's still sort of like 3 weeks away with a bad. Obviously, I got a bad knee injury in pre-season. He's about 3 weeks away or so from fitness.
Okay. I think Championship lower leagues could get some experience, and maybe he could be a Premier League player for us in the future. But for the current level, that's where I'd be pitching.
I agree with you, Daz. I think he's out of all the ones, he's at that level. But out the ones we've mentioned, he's the one that could possibly, do something going forward for us as a squad player potentially.
Martin.
Yeah, no, I agree. I was actually talking to somebody about him about 3-4 weeks ago. I'm actually a mate lives in Plymouth, and he's obviously Plymouth fan. Been to see him a few times when Watts was playing down there. He says he's really, really good, tactically aware, good positioning, doing a really good job down at Plymouth, and would love to have kept a hold of him. But yeah, no, I think he could. I think he could do a job longer term as a squad player, like Ritchie said.
Okay. So we're still the three of us here so far are still putting them in the lower category for now.
Yeah.
Okay. Pete, your thoughts
on
Kellen Watts?
Kellen Watts, championship player for me.
All right, last one on the list. Before we just mention what we missed with Pete is the new keeper, Larius Karius, whatever you call him. Thoughts, and let's take it as well. Thoughts on him coming in. Let's go.
He's better than Darlow.
Ritchie first.
He's better than Darlow.
I think he's a good keeper.
Better than Darlow.
He's got the potential. He's been in the German national squad, so there's obviously a keeper in there. Do you know what I mean? It's just he seems to be one of these keepers that's been affected by his mistakes.
Forever going to be tainted by the mistakes.
It's not one of those where in this profession, if you make a mistake, you've got to get over it quickly. He seems to linger on his mistakes. I think that's what's happened to him before. Perhaps the new start, what he needs, sort of thing. It's a short to go. There isn't the pressure to come in and potentially be a number one like he has when he went to Turkey and stuff like that. There's no pressure on him. He's only there potentially for Carabao Cup games at best, really.
Yeah.
So
look, I think there's a simple thing as well here. We're talking about the guy coming in. At the end of the day, he wasn't playing, wasn't attached to a club, was a free agent. So you get a shout from Newcastle, come in and be a number 2 for 6 months. Nobody's going to say no.
Take a chance.
take your chance. He'll probably get some cup game, and I think he'd be a really, really good backup to Pope. I wouldn't have any issues with him coming in. Obviously, you don't want injuries to Pope, but I'm happier now with somebody like Carice sitting in the back of there than I would be Darlow. Put it that way.
Yeah. He must have thought it was his birthday when he got that call from his agent.
Exactly.
He must have, because like you guys have said, he said in his interview, he was sitting in Berlin, chilling, without a club, got a call, Newcastle United, the richest club in the world. He must have thought it was his birthday. He probably couldn't get his bag packed quick enough to get up to Newcastle and sign that deal. But in reality, as Ritchie's mentioned, and I agree with him, he's better than Darlow. And I don't want us to get clouded by some of the mistakes that he made at Liverpool. Yes, there were bad mistakes, but let's not forget he was playing in the Champions League final. And we cannot forget that he was playing in a Champions League final. And now, not any one of our current squad can say that they played in a Champions League final and started in one. Yes,
did Trippier not start for Spurs?
Oh yeah, he might have actually. He might have played. I think that was one of his last games before he moved on. So yeah, okay. He started the Champions League final, but he's had good moments at Liverpool too, and that's why Klopp sort of persisted with him during that season. I just think we need to remember, if anyone can get the best out of a player, it's Eddie Howe.
Eddie Howe, yeah, absolutely. Just about to say the same.
I think just like we needed to with various other players that have come into the club, the likes of Sven Botman and that. If we get around the player and show the love to the player, like we've done with Bruno Guimaraes, like we've done with Dan Burn, Matty Target, Trippier, all the rest of it. If we can get around the player and show them that love and show them that we want them to be at the club, for me, I think that is going to give him the confidence to go and produce football. And he's not going to play every week, but who's to say he doesn't play against Crystal Palace in the Carabao Cup? Who's to say?
Yeah, exactly. I think the other thing to that as well, Pete, is you look at that back four or a back three. If we go 3-4-3 or whatever, it's not a bad defensive line to look at. When you're coming into a team like that, So I think he'll do well, as you said. Eddie Howe will get the best out of him. I can see him playing the cup games myself. I can't see how risking Pope in the cup games. Maybe unless we get towards the back end, but I'd say Karius will start those for me.
Yeah, definitely.
Just comment from a Liverpool fan. Hey, Ger. Liverpool in the past have let some good goalkeepers go. So let's hope he falls into this category. Brad Friedel, Pepe Reina, David James. So if he does half as good as them after they left Liverpool, hey, we'll take that. And when it comes to the box, what, are we putting them in the bottom here? Bottom Premier League?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that sounds like about right. Right, that is it, lads.
I've got a controversial comment here on Karius, just because we've brought it up. It's from Yano again. He believes that Karius could be our best signing of the summer. He will test the abilities of Eddie and his backroom staff. If they can get him back playing to anywhere near his best, then I'm waiting for the next bit to come through. I'm presuming there's a second bit.
You think? I think he thinks the Champions League box.
He basically thinks he's our best signing of the summer. I'd have to disagree with that. I think our best signing of the summer, personally, for value, for money, is going to be Nick Pope.
I agree with Nick Pope. Is that call? In terms of money, monetary terms, and I think he'll be England number one, and he'll get to the World Cup final and get beaten by Brazil in that final.
At least you'll have your J7 tattoo.
Will I?
I imagine Joelinton gets called up for the World Cup. I would. Oh man, that'd be so funny.
Yeah, that's the text I'm not looking forward to hearing again. But there's still more conditions, so I'm still alive. Right. This is what we're looking at, lads. We've got 6 Champions League players. Actually, sorry, Pete has to look at this first. Would you disagree with any of the selections we've made, Pete?
Sven Botman and Bruno Guimaraes need to be in the Super League, but other than that, I agree with everything that's on there.
Lovely. Great. Okay, so we've got six players in the Champions League / Super League category. We've got 7 players falling into the top half of the Premier League category. And this is where Eddie Howe then needs to concentrate, and Dan Ashworth is shipping out these players, obviously, that fall into the Championship, and also looking to that are anyone that falls into the bottom half. But except Anderson, we want to keep him. We think he can go up, move up, and maybe a few more might, like Lewis may move up if he gets recover some of the form or whatever. But yeah, so that is it. We've got 8 players in the bottom half of the Premier League as we categorize them, and we've got a massive 13 players. And I know a few of them have gone pretty much already, but 13 players in the Championship lower leagues section there. So still a lot of work to do, and of course you can't change everything overnight, but plenty of changes to come. So that ends this part of the show, and we're going to do another small little bit as well, but on our Squad Game 2 box to box. So thanks for watching that part of the show. So now we'll say goodbye to that. And there was a few more things we'll touch on, and before we close off the night, want to talk about. I'll get your opinion on, and I can't pronounce his name right, but there was talk today of this guy. No, not the fellow that's trying to be a footballer there in Traore. It's
you can't say his name either, Daz.
No, I can't say no one's name, Marty. Garang Kaul. It's whatever. The young chap, the 17-year-old from Australia, whose family moved from Egypt when he was young. He playing for Central Coast Mariners. This talk is a wonder kid, really, and he's talk of him coming into Newcastle or potentially accepting a contract with Newcastle on 25 grand a week. He did play in this game. It was kind of an all-star select, all-star. But I've heard that mentioned as well somewhere else today as well. So against Barcelona in a kind of friendly game, and the potential he's being called up to the Australian squad, so he might actually even make the World Cup yet. Will anyone get a tattoo if he does? Martin will. Martin will accept that challenge.
I'm easy. What's one more?
So, what you make of that news, lads, of this chap?
I'll be honest, I don't really know that much about him. I watch the odd couple of Australian soccer games when they're on sometimes, mostly if Melbourne or whatever are playing, because obviously they're kind of linked to the whole Man City thing, along with New York, so they tend to get most of the games that are on the TV. But I don't know enough about him. He's meant to be a quality player, but you'd want to see a bit more of him in probably a bigger league than the Australian league if he's going to be one that's viewed at. But again, look, if the club think he's the right player, and the scouts that we've got in place now, and Eddie and Dan Ashworth think he's a player worth getting a hold of, then I trust their judgment. So let's see.
Pete, come to you next. Any thoughts on him? I looked again, like I looked at 1 or 2 YouTube clips on him when I heard the name today. Didn't know anything about him really. But do you know anything about him? Heard much about him?
No, nothing about him. The first I heard is from the reports that came out early today. I didn't see them until later on, and there's a few videos and things that are going around about him. So don't know too much about him. But look, the player aside, from what you've seen, he looks like a talented player. He actually reminds me a lot of Ousmane Dembele, who's at Barcelona. The way in which he plays, the way in which he carries the ball, the way in which he runs with the ball with purpose. He looks like an exciting 17-year-old player, a little bit like Ousmane Dembele as he came out and burst onto the scene at Dortmund. He looks very similar to that. But more so than that aside, what I really like about this is that this lad, Garang, can't pronounce his surname, but I apologize for that. But he, it's actually the type of signing that someone like Chelsea would sign or Man City would pick up a guy like this. So the fact that we're doing it gives me confidence that we're moving in the right direction, that we're looking at not only getting the likes of Bruno Gomes, Sven Botmans and Alexander Isaks and players like that. We're looking to get the next best thing. And that's what a top club does. That's what the best clubs do. They get the best young players that are around, and also get the best players that are available right now. So that sort of filled me with confidence by seeing this little link. Look, he's 17. He's got to get a work permit. If he plays for Australia enough and goes to the World Cup, he may well get a work permit. But for me, we may not see him in a black and white shirt for quite a while. So it's not something to get too excited about right now, but it's going in the right direction.
Before I go to Ritchie, the other bit I read under somewhere is that the stock the other would, if we did sign him, that he would go out and loan as well somewhere in part of Europe and get some game time and then qualify for a work permit and so on and so forth. Ritchie, any thoughts on him?
Same as the lad. That it was great news to hear about it. Obviously, that there's an up and coming player that when Newcastle are interested, don't know much about him, like the other lads have said. But as Pete said, it's good to see. There's been all these rumours about, Steve Nixon's been looking at the young talent over in South America, and there's been a few young Brazilians being linked with us and stuff like that over the last couple of transfer windows. And it's good that we're looking at potential quality coming from all the way around the world, not just in Europe, not just South America. The fact that he's going down to Australia as well, and people are saying that we could be getting him over Barcelona. Teams like that are looking at him. He must be a good player. Do you know what I mean? If we can get him, he's obviously looking at the project Newcastle have got going for him, and you might look at it and obviously we're not on the same level as Barcelona yet. It could you could look at Newcastle as at this moment in time potentially a stepping stone type thing to a Barcelona later on, but by that time he's developed into the player that we hope he's going to be. We could be 5 years, 6 years time. We could be knocking on the same door as the same level as Barcelona. Competing with them in the Champions League and stuff. Actually, that might never ever come to fruition from him on that sort of basis. But it's a promising that we're looking to get players in from all levels, not just for the players for the now, it's for the future as well. And as you're right, that's what you said. That looks like the deal's in place to kick in from January. He'll stay with the club he's at now. I think it's at Central Coast Mariners is at the moment. I think that's what it is. Do a end of season 2 with them down in Australia, then sign a contract with you in January. Then apparently he's going to be loaned out on the continent. So we'll see what happens on that. But it's nice and promising that we're looking at the youth as well. So I think it's been neglected for so many years, and it would be nice to have it's important that we don't have to be spending millions to bring players in now. It'd be let's develop our own so we don't have to be spending the money that we know we've got.
Oh, cool. Good call, lads. And I think what we'll mention one more thing and then we'll call it a night, really. Just the comments from the Chelsea owner, Todd Bowley, on an all-star game, North versus South.
Ted Lasso.
Ted Lasso, as I put in the chat today, what do you make of that? And what about all the games that the players have to play already, or for their club and for their country, and injuries and rivalries? And as Klopp said, he can see Man United, Liverpool, and Everton players playing in that same group together. If an Everton player would get into that team, I don't think so.
No.
But
they might not even be in the league, hopefully.
Yeah. But thoughts on that?
I think there's two pieces to it. I actually quite like the idea because I've been obviously on Twitter. There's been a good bit of debate about it. I've seen people putting up their teams and different bits and pieces, and I've actually kind of quite enjoyed thinking about who would go into a North and South. Where does the North-South divide come? All that kind of stuff. And there's been I've seen some really good teams, and Yeah, there's been some really good teams and formations and different. So I've kind of enjoyed that, kind of like a little bit of a fantasy league piece. However, the whole idea of the razzmatazz and an NBA All-Star game and everything else, Ted Bowley's a fucking idiot. Or Todd Bowley, whatever you call him, right? It's ridiculous. However, an interesting thing I've seen from Mitch and a couple of others, Stu and a couple of others over the last week or so is there's a firm belief that some of these American ownerships will start to get a bit of the run and a bit of the way with the Premier League. So I wouldn't be at all surprised to see something like that come up. But I think I get the whole vision piece. I see where he's going, like wanting to bring change in. So I get that. But I just think, like, not being funny, he's only in the Chelsea door a wet weekend. Shut the fuck up and just sort your club out first. And then move on to maybe that in about 5 years' time. But the premise of actually thinking about building a North and a South team, I actually quite like the principle, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's a touch of the John Delaney's about him, where Henry got Ireland knocked out of the World Cup with his big hands, and John Delaney wanted Ireland added in as this is the 33rd team or something into the World Cup. Or wasn't there another thing as well where a 39th game, and that last game will be playing in different continents, that was talked about as well as an idea that was floated back a number of years ago. But lads, thoughts? Ritchie, Pete, who wants to go first?
Whatever. Go on, Pete. You go first, mate. I just love that laugh there.
I'm gonna be honest. I like it. I
knew you were going to say that. I knew you were going to say that.
I do. And you know why I like it? Because I would love to have an all-star game in replacement for internationals. Because internationals are fucking shit. And they are the worst 2 weeks of my life. And if it meant getting rid of international games that allowed us in this country to watch the best players from the north, the best players from the south, go at it against each other for a game or two, I'm all for it. And let's not forget. Let's not look. Hey, Simon, don't hate on the Super League. Don't hate on the Super League. Sven Botman and Bruno Guimaraes are in it. They're in it, as you saw tonight. So don't hate on it. I'm not against the All-Star game. And you know why I'm not against the All-Star game? Not just because we see the best players and it could potentially replace international games. It's because in the next few years, Newcastle United players are going to be in it. And that's the thing. At this moment in time, Newcastle United players might be one or two. Bruno Guimaraes, Allan Saint-Maximin might be thrown in there as the star factor, is the one that can do a little bit of everything. Kieran Trippier, maybe. Sven Botman. But in years to come, Newcastle United will be one of those teams where we see all of our players, a lot of our players in it and representing. And I tell you what, if we had an all-star game and there was 6, 7, 8 Newcastle players representing in a bigger squad for the North, I think all the fans would be up for it because they would want to see Newcastle United players represented in an all-star game. At this moment in time, we can't visualize it because we're not there. But in the future, we would have Newcastle players in it. And I tell you what, everyone would be bang up for it at that point.
Imagine if they all played in their own jerseys as well, right? And right. So they're all wearing their own kits. All the Newcastle players wearing the Newcastle kit, and so on and so forth. It sounds like something like EA Sports to dream up and attach it to FIFA. But no, it's interesting.
You're sort of going along on the NFL lines here, Daz, where they have the All-Star game the week before the Pro Bowl the week before the Super Bowl, where they all wear their own helmets from their own teams, but they still wear the same shirt and stuff like that. I don't think that would ever be able to do it in this sort of game. But you know what? I've listened to your arguments, and the one thing I would take on from that is if we were to go in, and I do like the idea of it, but for me, that could be the 39th game of the season. As Todd Bowley mentioned, we don't want to take our game necessarily around the country or whatever. Make that the 39th game. make it the end of the season after the FA Cup final or something like that, before you have the the internationals. It could be or take away one of the international games, so it's like it's still a little bit competitive, but that the players aren't going to be too hard on them because they're going to want to represent their countries still. Because the one thing you've got is, if you're playing against some of these rival teams, and obviously Newcastle are going to start to come against some of these teams, you don't want them to go in too hard to knock your player for the future season. Like put like a long-term 6-month injury, and you think, oh, for fuck's sake, we're out. Do you know, like lose Bruno for 6 months? Do you know what I mean, sort of thing? So I think you've got to keep putting it at a level where there's something meaningful afterwards for the player. So it's more like a showpiece sort of thing rather than like a bloodbath type, potential bloodbath where you could, injure people. So yeah, I think end of the season, potentially after the FA Cup final, as the 39th game, North v South, you could do that sort of thing. And to be fair, I think I'd fancy the North chances every single day of the week.
Yeah, too right. And Lisa's put on there, she made a valid point. It means we would have to potentially support players from Liverpool, Man United, Everton. No chance. We don't have to.
Everton not going to have any in there. Why'd she mention Everton? They're not going to have anyone in there.
Everton will be in the Championship anyway, so that's besides the point. But actually, we don't have to support any of the other players. We just support Newcastle United, and we support the players that are representing Newcastle United.
Team.
And the one thing that we haven't talked about is how much exposure it would give to Newcastle United across the world. Just like Man United get right now, Tottenham, Arsenal, Chelsea, Man City, they get that exposure of having the top players represent them. Just imagine Bruno Guimaraes playing alongside the likes of Haaland, playing alongside some of those top players that that represent Man City and them, and Newcastle United being seen alongside a team or a player from Man City, Man United, Chelsea, Liverpool. If we're seen alongside them, we're considered the same as them, and that gives us exposure. And what that gives exposure to? Money, and that's what we want. We want that money coming into the club.
Do you know another potential way of looking at it, Pete? Rather than picking the best teams, so you could do if they're concerned about this north-south divide type thing. They could, how you have the Charity Shield to start the season, which is like Premier League winners and FA Cup. You could just turn around and say, right, Newcastle have finished the highest northern team. Arsenal were the highest southern team. We'll just put them in an exhibition-friendly 39th game of the season. Do something like that rather than getting the best players type things. So you never know, but in 10 years' time, though, we could have they could just turn and say, Newcastle, you can represent the North because you've got the best team anyway.
Yeah. I think somebody was saying what happens to the Midland teams. I think we just pick 3 of them, 2 linesmen and a referee.
But that's where the split will be, I think.
Exactly. It would have to be,
I think that's where the split will be. I think it would be like Birmingham Wolves would maybe go into the North. Birmingham Wolves, or not Birmingham, sort of Villa, obviously based in Birmingham, and Wolves will go into the Northern. And I think Leicester, Forest maybe would go into
the bottom,
into the bottom half. I think that's
positioning-wise,
that's where the split and they kind of cut it across. But it's an interesting one. But
the other caveat I would like to say is that if at some point there's a game like that, all of the revenue and the earnings should go to charity, be it food banks,
grassroots,
food bank, stuff like that. That it goes back into communities and back into local areas, both north and south.
Mark, wasn't that what it said? Well, wasn't it? Didn't
pyramid? He said
it was. It was pyramid. Yeah, they wanted to do something. What he initially suggested was that the money would be reinvested into likes of academies and stuff. Then it kind of changed it up when he did the big interview on the TV on the American sport. Yeah, that's it. Salt FTX. He said that it would then become some format of like a pyramid payment scheme down to lower league and so on and so forth. Right. But then it's kind of gone on from them, where people going, well, you could use this and you could put some money to this. So I would just say, from my perspective, given that as we know in the country, certainly UK wise, there is a north-south divide already there. I'd like to see whatever money goes into the game that's earned out of it, revenues and so on, I'd like to see it just go to likes of food banks and homeless agencies and all that kind of stuff to help people locally.
I'll tell you one thing. I wish they played it last weekend because I missed my football. Definitely would have watched it.
I think one thing we've got to, that I know I did hear mention that because obviously you've got the American owners and they want to have like a closed league and stuff. The one thing I don't think it'll ever happen in English football, but if they ever turn around and try to mention franchise football, it needs to be shut down straight away because that's just a fucking ridiculous idea.
Even Hedgehog doesn't like that one.
I agree. Like it's an all-star. In my opinion, an all-star game is okay because, like what Mark said, the money that it could raise and where it could go, fine. But let's not get stupid. Let's not get greedy and start looking at alternatives. I'm joking tonight about the Super League and Sven Botman, Bruno Guimaraes, but ultimately that's not what I want. I don't want a Super League. Far from that. You want a competitive game. This is what we've been brought up on. It's what we've been born into. It's what we love. And to have that change would be the worst thing for football. 100%.
I don't think we'll see the Super League, but I think we'll see another push for a derivative of it somewhere along the line shortly.
Yeah.
And I think there will be something eventually. I'd say there will be.
Brace ourselves for it. And you know what's going to be interesting about that, Mark, is that when that whatever concept comes about next, you can bet that Newcastle United will be part of that conversation.
Absolutely.
And that's where it's going to be really, really interesting about how fans feel about it. Because it's all right being against something that you've got you've got no idea or no intentions of being
that attitude changes completely if you get an invite because the Saudis are one of the top 5% of the owners in the Premier League.
Exactly. And that's the key. That's the key. That's where it's going to be. I think, unfortunately, that's where that could potentially create a massive split again within the fan base, because I think there'll be half of the fan base that would be all for it because we're now considered the team with the most money and the team that could be financially viable for a competition like this. And equally, there'll be fans obviously that want to keep it traditional for the competition. So when that time comes about, there'll be some interesting conversations being had. And of course, Loaded Mag NUFC will be right on it as always.
We'll be sponsoring the kids, but let's round up the show, lads. And I want to give a shout out to what's coming next on the channel as well. So stay tuned for that. So quick shout out to the sponsors, to Simon and ShyBurns.com. You nearly missed the show, Simon. I was watching. You snuck in there. Nice one. And we all know what's available on Simon's site. All the ShyBurns t-shirts, hoodies, hats, cups, and loads of different stuff. So check it out. And also the Loaded t-shirts. The original Loaded t-shirt in a variety of different colors, and also in a variety of different colors, the Away Days one t-shirt. And here's our favorite one, the yellow one. Yellow one. You have it?
It's going to make his debut this week. It's coming. It's coming. And
tomorrow.
Massive thanks. Yeah, it will be tomorrow. And massive thanks to Simon for sorting it out and being understanding. It's been a bit of a mad week last week for me. But yeah, managed to send it through, and it is everything that I thought it would be. It is a fantastic shirt. They all are, let's be honest. All of Simon's traditional gear is outstanding. But I do have the Away Day shirt and the yellow one representing Brazil, and it is fantastic. So I will be donning that shirt tomorrow night, no doubt.
Nice one. And of course, I believe Chris is going to be joining you as well tomorrow night. So we get to get Chris back on screen as well. Just a shout out to Pins and Prints and to Dean and the range he has there. Keep checking in on what the latest is with Dean. Also, shout out to Machine House and Marty and Machine House and the range that Marty has available. And I know the blue hoodie is back in stock. I've seen, and he's got some new t-shirts as well. I saw. Is it this one? Yeah, I think this one is back out as well. So check out the latest from Marty and Machine House. Then a shout out as well, and Ritchie, nice one for putting in some new pictures here. Shout out to Dean and the Jonjo Rise and our lovely model here. Oogie. So if you're watching this back, Oogie, you'll see yourself there modeling the t-shirt. And let me see what else you have here, Richie. Yeah, some lovely pictures of the t-shirts. And
yeah, this is actually a picture of the t-shirt that Joelinton for Life won from our giveaway. And he's actually put a comment in the chat earlier on just to say thank you very much for the t-shirt. That's top class. Great work from Dean at the Geordie Rise.
And is this isn't the Joelinton for Life, is it?
Yeah, it is. It's a one-off limited edition one to celebrate the anniversary.
Is he modeling it?
No,
that's my question.
That's Manu Riviera.
I remember him. Some striker.
He fucking went on strike.
Right. Yeah, he didn't. But we don't have a box for him this week. Well, yeah. Look, thanks everyone for sticking with us. It did take a while, but just remember, it's an evolution, not a revolution. So it will take time, but those people in those players in the lower boxes will be shipped out in time. But they can do a job for us all the same in the meantime. Also, I nearly forgot, and I said it is a reminder of what's coming tomorrow. Pete, take it away.
Yeah, we're back. And if anyone hasn't watched the Howe handover that myself and Ritchie did way back in November when Eddie Howe took the reins at Newcastle, go and watch the Howe handover back. I'm sure we'll find it somewhere and tweet it out so you get to watch the show beforehand. But it's such a quality show, and you know we were sort of blessed to have Tom Jordan from the sort of the AFC Bournemouth podcast, and he come forward and talked a little bit about Eddie Howe. I say a little bit in a lot of detail about Eddie Howe and what he did for Newcastle and what we were to expect. He's back again tomorrow night from Back of the Net podcast, talking all things Bournemouth. I've been speaking to him this week, just on and off when I've had a chance. He's really excited to come back on the show. He really, really enjoyed last time with myself and Ritchie, and he's really, really excited to come back on purely because there's football back. And he's happy to the fact that there's football, and he's going to the game. He's going to be at St. James's Park, but he's really, really interested to know about one or two things Newcastle related. But I'm really, really interested to know, and I'm sure we all are, about his opinions of certain things Eddie Howe related, and obviously with Bournemouth and Scott Parker, various other things we're going to get into tomorrow night. So 7:30. Don't be late. It's going to be a great show, and Tom Jordan is a fantastic guest, and as always with away days guests, they know their football. So it's going to be a really, really good chat again.
Exactly, and make sure whatever you do, don't give away Eddie Howe. He's not getting them back. No chance. Also, then, well, either happen. I know the game is on Saturday. We'll run the show either Saturday and Sunday. We have to make a decision on that yet. But is the review show or the reaction show to the game? So I think we're all hoping for 3 points there. We're kind of expecting 3 points, but who knows what could happen? But we'll be back on the review show over the weekend. That is it, lads. Anything else anyone wants to say?
I know came up with another idea for another show for you, Daz. That's about it. Yeah.
And I must say again, thanks to Jordi Pirlo for the idea on Twitter, and I just took it from there and we rounded it. So, and I think we unmasked him. He's crispy, is in the chat as well. So we're assuming that is the Jordi Pirlo. But yeah, this is the idea.
Ginger.
Yeah, feature idea for the show: rate the players against other players in the Premier League, so you get a 1 to 20 for every position.
That's like a Football Manager thing, isn't it? Like 1 to 20. Interesting. Yeah. Very interesting.
We could be there a while though.
I was going to say, I say no to that idea. I had enough trouble with 4 fucking boxes. No thanks.
To be fair, Yano, that's a great idea. I love it. But we might have to do some prep work for Martin more than anyone else.
I need to be awake to play that one.
And Chris will only do it if we can bring in Andy Carroll and put him in one of those positions. So, lads, we will leave it there. Thanks everyone for joining us, and we will see you tomorrow with Pete and maybe Chris or who else is available. All welcome. All right, talk to you later. Eddie. He's not going to be manager of the North team, or we're not letting him go. How? Good luck.
Right.
Take care, guys.